الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى تابعيهم ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. وبعد، رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. رب زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected friends, brothers and sisters in Islam, there is a question that has reverberated across the spectrum, displaying a level of desperation the like of which has never been seen or heard before. This question has breached the lines of race and religion. It has crossed over walls and borders of lands and nations, resonating practically with each and every human being on the face of this earth. For those who follow the news, and for those who couldn't care any less. And that question is a simple question. What is going on? What is going on? To the non-Muslims and to the Muslims. But the Muslims have to ask that question twice. Because when they start to process the answer of the question, they look at us, and then we have to ask that question again. Yeah, what is going on? But the problem, my dear brothers and sisters, is this question has been lingering for too long. You buy a car from a showroom, you pull it out of the lot, it's got 0.8 of a mile on it. It's fresh, it's new. And you drive it for 50,000 miles, and it's perfectly fine. You're accustomed to it, and it's accustomed with you. And then one day while you're driving down the interstate, you start hearing a noise. And you ask yourself, what's going on? Why did you pose that question to yourself? Because for the 50,000 miles of this car's life in your hands, from the day you pulled it out of the lot, it never made the noise, So you're going to ask that question. And the second you ask that question, you're going to address it. You're going to either pull over to the hard shoulder and you're going to try to analyze it. If you can't see anything visual wrong with the car, you're going to go in to a mechanic and you're going to ask them, I was driving this car and it made a strange sound. I'm not accustomed to it. I don't care if you think it's real, it's fine. What's wrong with this car? But for too long, the question's being asked, what's going on? And everyone's ignoring it. And we know that we're a vital part in solving this predicament and dilemma. How can we address this? How can we answer this? How can we better the situation of humanity through this question? Well, for that, my dear friends, let's go back into history and recall how it all started. Remember the time when they used to say, Islam spread by the sword? Remember those days? Islam is a religion of violence. Islam spread by the sword. So what we did, we took these and we gave it out to people. This is the Holy Quran. It's a book of peace. It's a book of peace. It's a book of goodness. It doesn't talk about the sword. Okay. Then recall the second notion that was out there. Muslims are building mosques and they go to mosques to radicalize themselves and to radicalize their children. So we pause for a moment. So let's do open house. Let the non-Muslim community, our neighbors and friends, come to the mosque and see how we radicalize. And when they walk in and they see this beautiful carpet and you look on the walls and there's no guns hanging, there's no AK-47s, like, oh, it's a peaceful place. Then recall when they said Muslim leaders call the West infidels. You can act nice in front of my face at work or at school, but in your faith, I'm an infidel. So we pushed our ulama, our scholars, our imam, become more vocal on talking about the fact that this is not what we're about. We don't call people infidels. So they gave fatwas on humanity. They gave fatwas on preserving human rights. They emphasized on the importance of security and safety. This hate rhetoric, the questions aren't stopping. You know why they're not stopping? Because we haven't addressed the core question, what's going on? Number 4, Muslims are not part of our community. Yeah, you could say what you want to do, you could tell me how big your numbers are in this community, but realistically, you're not part of the greater community. So what we did, we paid for billboards. Islam is about love. Islam is about everyone. Jesus is a prophet in Islam. And we began community engagement programs. The soup kitchen, downtown homeless shelter, so on and so forth. Muslims only care about themselves and their people. You guys build your own Islamic schools, your own recreation centers. You want to only work with your people. So what we did, we created programs to address the masses. And then we would confront those people, say, look man, you had 5 questions, right? We're not doing this, we're not doing that, we're not doing that. Look what we're doing so much. And their response would be, it's the fault of the Muslims. It is Islam and those haters. And you so-called good Muslims aren't doing enough. You so-called good Muslims, fine, you're an Americanized Muslim, but your Islam, it's a problem. Your Muslims, man, they're a problem. You're fine, but they're not. So now we scratch our head and ask, what else can we do? What else do we need to do to prove our acceptance in society? Hence the topic of today's speech. When will we have done enough to quell the notion that you haven't done enough? My dear brothers and sisters, let us focus on our failures and try to draw out solution. For too long, we've been focusing on quantity of what we can do, yet not the quality of how it should be done. And these are in the 5 same areas where their questions continue to come. Right? A religion of the sword, radicalization. I want to address our failures in these 5 areas. And if we can acknowledge our failure in these 5 areas, then we could adequately, completely answer the question of what's going on. Number 1, Islam spread by the sword. We said no. This book proves it. It's a book of peace. What we did at that moment is that we tried to prove our faith rather than present our faith. Faith is an it's an invasive question to ask anyone today. If you ask a brother, how's your faith? It's like asking a lady, what's your age? You cross the line. Don't ask that question. And we're not questioning a person's faith, the strength of a person's faith, or the volume of a person's faith, or the quantity of a person's faith, or the clarity of a person's faith. But we can ask, what is the direction of our faith? If not to someone else, ask yourself, what's the direction of my faith? Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam never considered this to be a bad question. He would ask it. And when he would ask, how are you? We ask each other, how are you doing today? And we're like, oh man, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. My back is hurting. All our answers revolve around the physical state of ourselves. When Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam would ask someone, how are you doing this morning? He would allude to their spiritual state, not just their physical state. Why? Because he wanted 4 things from us when it comes to our faith. Number 1, to be on par with our faith always. He meets Haritha, a Sahabi, radiallahu ta'ala, and he asks him, كَيْفَ أَصْبَحْتَ يَا حَارِثَةَ? Oh Haritha, how was your morning? How did you get up this morning? And he responds, أَصْبَحْتُ مُؤْمِنًا حَقًّا. I woke up this morning as a strong, firm, true believer. Okay? He's saying this to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sahaba were very straightforward, but they're very respectful. So Rasulullah said, لِكُلِّ قَوْلٍ حَقِيقَةٍ فَمَا حَقِيقَةُ قَوْلِكَ يَا حَارِثَةَ. Everything a person states has to have some proof. What's the proof of your statement? So he said, عَزَفْتُ نَفْسِي عَنِ الدُّنْيَا. See, this is the whole problem today. We can't talk about some things because people take them wrong. And that doesn't imply that the topic of discussion is wrong. It's a manner of how we perceive it that's gone wrong. He says, I've cut myself off from the world. Now you say, come on Imam, this is America. How could you cut yourself off from the world? You know, we're living in the world. We're living in the modern age. What is he trying to say? Ask any of these youngsters who are much interested in cars, in speed. They talk about aerodynamics. You got a humongous engine on an 18-wheeler, But that truck isn't aerodynamic. It can't push itself because it's coming against the force of the wind. But you make a sports car, a Bugatti, something that is aerodynamic. It could rip and cut and slice through the air as it runs 120, 150 miles per hour. When he says, I've cut myself off from the dunya, he goes, I've made myself aerodynamic. I've sealed my vessel. So when I jump into the water and I am a yacht, a ship, a boat, the water cannot come into me. عَزَفْتُ نَفْسِي عَنِ الدُّنْيَا. What did this do in response? أَضْمَأْتُ النَّهَارِ وَأَسْحَرْتُ لَيْلِي وَكَأَنِّي أَنظُرُ إِلَىٰ عَرْشِ الرَّحْمَنِ بَارِزًا. My days are in fasting, my nights are in standing in prayer, and as if I can see the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As if I could see the people of paradise in their blessings and the people in hell in their screams. Rasulullah said, you are a believer. You are a believer. Because you're living on this earth, but your goal, your focus is much more than just yourself. Every Muslim is a vessel. You have to tread the waters of this earth, but the water can't come inside you. Doesn't matter if it's a canoe, doesn't matter if it's a small dinghy boat or if it's a humongous ship. The second water starts seeping in, you're going to start reading your kalima. Number 2 about faith, being focused on the bigger picture. Once the mother of Haritha came to Rasulullah ﷺ, and he was martyred on the day of Badr. And she said, oh Rasulullah ﷺ, you know who Haritha was to me? I'm not just a mother, but he was my dear son. If he is in paradise, I'll stop weeping. But if not, then you don't know what I'll do. The Prophet ﷺ said to her, are you mad? Is there only one paradise? There are many paradises. And Haritha is in the highest paradise, Al-Firdaus. You're asking me a question, did he get to paradise? Forget paradise. He's in the top level of paradise. Why you pose that question? Number 3, not wavering for anything. When we talk about presenting faith, not proving faith, then we'll never waver. Look at Ibrahim alayhi salam. As Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh says, when when Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was thrown into the fire, and the angels came and said, we'll help you. And he said, Hasbi Allah. Allah is enough for me. Who are you? I don't care you're an angel. I don't care you're the great creation of Allah, that you're made from nur and light. Hasbi Allah. Allah is sufficient for me. So Rasulullah ﷺ, when he was told a great army of the pagans have gathered against him, and the Quran says, the Quran states this, فَخْشَوْهُمْ فَزَادَهُمْ إِيمَانًا. The Quran said they were told the army is gathering, you better be scared. فَزَادَهُمْ إِيمَانًا. But their faith only increased. وَقَالُوا حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ وَنِعْمَ الْوَكِيلُ. This Allah is enough for us. We don't care. Because we got it right with Allah. You get it right with Allah, the world will get it right with you. You get it wrong with Allah, everything will be wrong. Nothing will be right. What is this faith? Faith, Iman, Islam. Faith implies your reliance on your Lord, being pleased with Him for being who He is. Once you acknowledge and accept your Allah for who He is, He will respond in kind. As Allah says regarding all the Sahaba, what do we say when we say Sahaba? Radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. Allah is pleased with them because they showed their pleasure to Allah. It's tit for tat. You do it, He'll give it back to you. Number 2, moving on beyond faith. We put so much time towards the creation so that they could understand Islam, they could understand the simplicity of Islam, the beauty of Islam. The correlation of Islam with other faiths, that we compromise the time with Allah. Namaz chhod dete. Okay, we're going to a town hall meeting now. Let us leave the prayer. We could pray after. Why? Because we're doing an act of worship. Right? Worship is an area that we gauge our sincerity in our love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is when we understand our love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a believer's first resort, not last resort. Islam didn't say cut off from the resources of this world, from striving on this earth. But do 4 or 5 simple things. Number 1, make supplication before you start anything in life. Because Rasulullah told us, whenever you make a dua, it is accepted. There's going to be 3 things. Either you'll get what you ask for, or Allah will remove something harmful from your path, or Allah will give you something better in the akhirah. So is it hard to say, Allahumma yassir li amri? Oh Allah, make easy for me my day, my matter. It takes 3 seconds, but ask Allah first, because this shows your connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2, reflect in solitude while you're preparing for whatever you're doing. That's what Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu states that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, those in seclusion have raced ahead. Sahaba said, who are those in seclusion? He said that they are those men and women who remember Allah often. So before you start something, while you're preparing for it, and while you're doing what you're doing, fast. Fasting isn't just for Ramadan. There was a time in our history when calamity befell the ummah, people used to fast. Because Abu Umama radiallahu anhu reports that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, whoever fasts a day for Allah, while striving for Allah, you're doing something good for the religion, Allah will make a trench between him and the hellfire. The distance is like of the heavens and the earth. Now this hellfire isn't just the hell of the akhirah. The problems we face on our earth, Allah will distance us from our problems. All we have to do is remember Him first. And upon completion of whatever we do, pray 2 rak'ah. Pray 2 rak'ah and say, oh Allah, accept from me. When Ibrahim a.s. was given the task to build the Kaaba, what was his dua? What was his response? رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا. Because, oh Allah, if you don't accept from me, it's not worth it. I could spend the time to build this Kaaba, the people will acknowledge it, they will circumambulate it, but if you don't accept it from me, it's nothing. That's why the prescription given to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 2. Ya ayyuhal muddathir qum fa'anzir. Daytime, go and work. Ya ayyuhal muzammil qumil layla illa qalila. If whatever your work you're doing for Allah in the day is sincere, you'll stand up for 2 minutes at night and ask Allah to accept it. Number 3. Number 3 reflects on our dealings. My dear brothers and sisters, there are 2 surahs in the Holy Quran that begin with wail. Wail means woe or misery. Allah calls misery upon 2 categories of people. 2 categories. In the beginning of a chapter, both categories are rooted from one and the same seed, and that is wealth. Wailul lil mutaffifin, those who cheat in their business and trade. And those who amass wealth and create negative traits that reflect darkness from themselves to others. When we're talking about what else do I need to do to prove to the creation that I'm not a terrorist? What else do we need to do to prove to America that Islam is a peaceful religion? Look at where we're going wrong. And we're going wrong in here, not out there. We're doing great work out there, but we're not making the connection. Number 4. Our striving for society isn't to make us dominate or give us the upper hand. It is rather to create love for the community. There was a Jewish boy that died in Medina Munawwara. And his beard was passing Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this prophet of ours, our guide, our leader, is crying profusely. Sahaba said he was Jewish. And he said, he's my ummah. He's my family. He's from my community. So what we do in the community has to reflect utmost love and care for humanity. And last but not least, to quell the questions that have accumulated upon the simple question of what's going on, is to reflect on our deficiency in our character. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam never came to this earth to preach a Quran. He didn't come on this earth to build masjids. He didn't come on this earth to enforce 2.5% charity. He didn't come on this earth to teach us how to go to the Kaaba. He came on this earth, as he states, بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I've come down to show you perfect moral conduct. How to act as a human being. It comes from Islam. And that's your roots. Remember the story of the lady who would daily sweep up her house and wait for Muhammad ﷺ only to dump the garbage on his head. But he would never turn around or look at her with a bitter eyes or with say anything to her in a bitter tongue. And we know when she stopped doing it, he didn't say, yes, Allah, you killed her. He said, what's wrong with her? He went and he inquired and found out, guess what's wrong? She's sick. So what did he do? He went and he swept up her house. He cooked for her food. He demonstrated to her, for us all, what he instructed us. صِلْ مَنْ قَطَعَكَ وَاعْفُ عَمَّنْ ظَلَمَكَ وَأَحْسِنْ إِلَى مَنْ أَسَاءَ إِلَيْكَ. Mend ties with those who are cutting. People are cutting the rope from you and you're constantly nodding them. People are being bad to you and you're constantly forgiving them. And people are determined to be evil to you, but you're only going to do good in return. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us ability to reflect on the points that we have failed to reflect upon and allow us to emerge strong in His eyes, strong in our eyes, strong in our community's eyes, so that we could bring forth harmony and mercy and love. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. So my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, let me conclude with a simple point that we can all take home. Beyond everything that we see, beyond everything that we can comprehend, beyond everything that we can taste, hear, smell, is an entire world known as the hidden world. And you and I are unique on this earth because our faith on the hidden world supersedes that of the physical, apparent world. Alif Lam Mim ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. You're a believer because you believe in the unseen help of Allah. You believe in the unknown knowledge of Allah. You believe in the great wisdom of Allah. You believe on the unrestricted mercy of Allah. You believe in things that the physical world cannot comprehend. We're not talking about death and after death. We're talking about world. I'm not going to, when we say after the unknown world, we talk about afterlife. It's not afterlife. There's something here. That's why when Isa asked Rasulullah when Isa asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about this ummah, Allah said to him, أَعْتَيْتُهُم مِّنْ حِلْمِي وَعِلْمِي. I will give them from my understanding and my knowledge. So let us send salutations upon the blessed Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who led by example, who demonstrated goodness that reverberated on this earth to the extent it changed the perception, the minds, the hearts, and the beliefs of the people. We say that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima, Allahumma fasalli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad, abdika wa rasulika al-nabi al-ummi, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallama تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. اللهم يا ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. رب اغفر وارحم وتجاوز عما تعلم إنك أنت العز الأكرم. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وأصلح ذات بيننا واهدنا سبل السلام وجنبنا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم اشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.